mostly written, a lot of it was written this summer, with all the shit going on, and everything, or, 2020 in general. But yeah, kind of a culmination. We've been together for 4 years, been working on our shit, just, really trying to find our sound, and really came together. We got Pete De Boer to record it, who's like, just kind of a legend here in Denver, because, he did both the Blood Incantation albums, which, for me are just so fucking amazing. So we were just stoked when we got him. The album's just fucking awesome, I think.
Yeah, well, we'll launch into all that, Anders. I'll just do a quick intro, bro, then we'll crack into it before we get too far ahead.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
No, you're right. Hey, how you doing? Still on that Aussie metal guy here with Crannk.com. As you all know, I'm chatting here with Anders from Vulgarian. He's the vocalist, Denver hardcore sludge band who kind of have some real crust punk elements to it as well. They're due to release their debut album, Human Scum, October 30th. I've actually already had a listen to it, man, and it is really cool. Enjoying the heck out of it, man.
Thanks. Yeah. We're really happy how it all turned out.
It's come out really good. Can we ask? Originally ask how did the band form, dude? I want to ask about that.
Yeah, sure. The band formed day after the 2016 election, the U.S. presidential election. Me and Thomas, the drummer, were roommates at the time. And we were doing like a drinking party, not because we were like into Hillary or any of that shit, but we really want to see that, racist piece of shit just get destroyed. And then he didn't. And so the drinking turned from like fun, boisterous to pissed off, sad drinking. And so then the next day, and our hangovers are, mingling. We're like, we should start a political. Originally, it was going to be a D-beat band, like Discharge, that sort of thing. But we got Crannk, the guitarist, on, and he's more of a tech death guy. So D-beat was not really in his DNA. So we quickly drifted more into sludge, give him a little bit more room to do some funky riffs in there. But yeah, that's basically the genesis there.
Yeah, and then you can kind of bring in those punk elements as well, and they sit really, really good in there with the style that you guys got. And it would have been good to have this kind of avenue to kind of release a bit of this anger at the kind of system as well that's going on, man, because people like me sit back as not someone who lives in your country, dude, as an observer, and it kind of sometimes you kind of get this wrong image of America. And I've got a lot of friends like yourself who kind of look at both sides of it, know about things all over the world, and don't get overly ignorant. But sometimes you look at things, and especially with the current leadership, and you think, America's very divided as well, and like probably most Western countries, a good majority of them are a bit ignorant and a bit racist and a bit, kind of dollar rules it, man.
Yeah, for sure. I think we all, at least here, had like kind of a rude awakening this summer of just like how fucked up shit was actually. Like, I think we've all been kind of, blissfully ignorant of, that, oh yeah, this country's super racist, and that permeates everything. And, that was, again, like 2020 was just kind of the, okay, let's just put all this shit right in front of your fucking face. And that's kind of, I guess, where, our shit came out with this album.
Yeah, it would have been a good release, songwriting. So how did you approach the songwriting with all this in mind, man?
The songwriting, at least for me, I do all the lyrics, but like the songwriting itself, we kind of just get together and just workshop the shit out of like how the song's going to work and all that. And then I don't write the lyrics until afterwards, just because I want to know how the songs goes and stuff. So I'm never like, okay guys, this song's about this. We just kind of work on shit, and then I'm like, okay, again, we're just tons of shit to write about right now for a political band. It's dearth of inspiration out there for that shit, unfortunately, right now. We write the songs first. I kind of just sit in a corner and be like, that's a good riff, or that riff sucked. And they take or leave or whatever. And then afterwards, I sit down and try and figure out how to encapsulate some of just the pissed off feelings we all collectively have about, what's going on.
Yeah. So when did you hit into the studio to record this?
That was in mid-August. We were originally going to do it in, oh shit, I got an Amber Alert here, sorry.
No, you're right. Oh.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we went in the studio mid-August. We were originally going to do it in May so that we could tour in the summer. Yeah. And then COVID happened, so all our plans got just completely destroyed, with the lockdowns and all that. And so August was the next best. And it worked out for the best because we had so much new material. I think we wrote like 3 new songs just in that span right there, just again, because there was so much shit going on right then. So I think it really benefited us, except for the lack of touring. Yeah.
Well, you would have had plenty of time to put down a ton of material, especially with everything's going on with the state of affairs over there, especially in America. You got the election and then everything that's happened with the Black Lives Matter. And that's finally, people are starting to draw light to something that's been happening for so bloody long. And it's the same here in Australia. The powers that be feed off of, this division. And it's been going on for so long. And people don't realise that things like the Black Lives Matter, you try growing up with nothing but racism all your life just because of the color of your skin, mate. It's like, and then you sit back as a white person, go, I'm down with it. I totally understand what's happening. So it would have been a good time for you guys to get out a ton of material and probably not sit back and go, okay, then we can't play, try and turn, because with everything else going on, you can't really sit back and go, put it about me. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And I think, that's kind of what I mean by, all of us kind of having like a rude awakening this summer is, we were all political. It was a political band before all this, but yeah, for middle-class white kids to like all of a sudden be like, oh, okay, that cop's killing someone right now. Yeah. And I'm watching it. That, was something that really, if it doesn't flip a switch, you might have to self-examine yourself a little bit or something like that.
Exactly, man. It does make for a really full-on time. You know what I mean? So, can I walk through the tracks a little bit? Kind of go a little bit off that track a little bit. Can I start with maybe the first one? Is that all right? That Amber Alert there?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, man.
I'm gonna toss my phone over here. Won't hear the phone anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Can we walk through the album a little bit, man? I wouldn't mind finding out a little bit more of, kind of a little album walkthrough, maybe we'll say, starting from Human Scum, the first one, which is the name of the album as well.
Yeah, that one, let's see here. That one was written fairly early on when we added Kevin into the mix. He's our bassist. He replaced our original bassist. Basically, it's kind of my take on, at least lyrically, on you have all these, metalheads who are all rebellious and all this shit, and they are so in lockstep with what their grandparents think and what the government thinks, and what are you rebelling against? Why are you into extreme music if all you're going to do is be like, oh yeah, obey the rules, all this shit? Like, what the fuck's the point? So that's kind of the basis of that song.
Yeah. I'm actually wearing a sickness shirt at the moment. It's government censorship protecting you from reality in that little corner there, dude.
Nice. Yeah. I always just get a kick of that, where like, especially, for a while I was in the black metal scene here in Denver. And, you run into, with black metal, all these, racists and stuff. And it's like, why you're following exactly like what you grew up with. How is, just go listen to shitty country or something. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, why not go all the way out if you're going to be like that, And in this time and place, there's no need for racism at all. It does my head in. I have 2 Indigenous daughters of Indigenous descent, mate, So for me, I just think it's totally abhorrent. I can never treat anyone any differently. And my daughter has you know, she doesn't treat anyone any different because of the color of skin. You look at kids, that's taught racism, you know, it's not something that just kind of it's ingrained.
Right. Yeah. Well, and like, at least for me, you know, that's part of what got me into extreme music was like, oh, well, I don't agree with, you know, the things I'm being taught or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to listen to this crazy shit over here that's weird and going to piss other people off, you know. And so,
yeah, well, bands like Napalm Death and Dead Kennedys and, you know, even Max when he done the Point Blank, there was so many metal bands that have made great political statements in their albums and aren't afraid to speak up, you know what I mean?
well, yeah, like, you know, Paranoid by Black Sabbath is a very political album.
Yeah.
I mean, War Pigs is an extremely anti-war song and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just frustrating to see. And I think it's partially because, you know, it's become more accessible with the internet and everything, that the fan base has grown. And with that, you get, you know, these ideologies or whatever that don't belong.
Yeah, it just comes back to what we're saying before, ignorance and just not paying attention as well to what goes on around the world. Thoughts and Prayers, man. Can I ask you about that track? That's the next one on there.
Yeah, that's an early one. That might be the earliest track we wrote on there. But you know, kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Just the you know, I feel so bad. I'm gonna save everything with my little like.
Thought and prayer.
And I think we're all kind of guilty of that, just like, you know, supporting the cause, but not really doing anything, just being like, oh yeah, I support that. And then going about your life after you put your fancy fucking picture on Facebook or whatever, you know. Oh, you did it.
Yeah, I know. It gets my grinds, my gears too, man. At times I see it, thoughts and prayers. I'm an atheist, dude. So when I see thoughts and prayers, I just think nothing. This is my way of doing nothing for you. When you see politicians go, I'm sending my thoughts and prayers. Here's a big nothing. Instead of me doing something, I'm going to do nothing and say it's thoughts and prayers. Yeah. It really does my boat in. And it's like, dude, I'd love people just to actually do something. How about instead of like, you keep your thoughts and prayers and actually do something, you know, make a stand, reach into your wallet, donate to some causes.
Yeah, at very least. Yeah, you can even write it off for taxes if you really want to.
Yeah, anything's better than thoughts and prayers. So just if it's going to be thoughts and prayers, just wrap it up as it is. Go, here you go, here's nothing. Cool. Can we jump into the next one, man? Kill or what, man? Bet you that one got some a bit of flack.
That one we wrote right after one of the good things about COVID is this hasn't happened in a while, but in the US we have, you know, just shootings all the time. And this was after the El Paso shooting, where a guy killed a bunch of Mexican Americans and Mexican nationals in a Walmart just because they were brown, and that was it. And so it was just kind of this like Kevin, our bassist, was talking about just like, white men are the worst, man. They're just the worst. All these problems, white men. So yeah, that was the idea behind Kill All White Men. Is if you got rid of all these fragile incel people who are so insecure with their identity and everything that they have to make their race something about it, and their that whole basement dweller sector of our society that seems to be gaining prominence.
Yeah, it does, and especially with total fucking nimwits that are in power at the moment as well, that just have no bloody idea. Can we go into Shithole? I love the names of your tracks, bro.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with them too. Shithole is about this another early one. This president said something about, we don't want people from shithole countries moving here. We want people from Norway and Sweden or something like that. And I'm actually Swedish Norwegian descent, but I know a lot of immigrants. Like my brother-in-law is the son of immigrants, and actually my family is pretty recent to this country too. And the thing with people who are coming from shithole countries is they had to work so fucking hard just to escape that. Yep. Why wouldn't you want them in your country? Like, it takes so much resources that they don't have. It's really easy for us to think, oh yeah, you just move to whatever country. Well, that's because you're a fucking spoiled American or Australian or whatever. Yeah.
I agree.
It would be really easy for us.
I totally agree, because people from those shithole countries has helped build America and Australia, if you know what I mean. Like, they built the countries we live in.
Yeah. I mean, only people who should be able to say that are the indigenous people saying, keep these fucking Europeans out of here. That shithole country. They got no rhythm. Their food sucks. Keep them out.
Yeah. Well, we had this kind of. I'm going to digress a little, but I'll talk about this Aboriginal situation since you brought it up in Australia. We had this thing where it was highly offensive for a number of years, and it still kind of rolls around every Australia Day. Australia Day is offensive to the Indigenous culture because we essentially came here and killed so many of them, and took this country by force. So to celebrate that every year is, and I agree, I totally agree with it. It's offensive to the Aboriginal culture and to the Indigenous culture of Australia. So I totally see their point to it, if you know what I mean. They'd be sitting back going, these people from that shithole country come over, and for over 100 years, they've made this invasion day as a celebration to Australia Day, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we just had, a couple of weeks ago, Columbus Day, which has become half the country, red states, it's Columbus Day, blue states, it's Indigenous Peoples Day, because it's like, Columbus was a fucking asshole. He genocided tons of, just thousands and thousands, maybe millions of people through his actions. And why would we celebrate that guy?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely. Give me a convenience. Next one on there, man.
Well, first off, it's, ripping off of a dead Kennedy's album,
yeah.
Which we're just gigantic. Well, at least me and Thomas are about the biggest Dead Kennedys fans there are. So we're wearing that fully on our sleeve there.
I still got a Dead Kennedys jumper. From 20 years old or something, dude, eh?
I've got one on a really old shirt. Like, you can barely see any of it. It's so faded. That's a recent one. And we wrote that about, kind of, and I don't know how it is over there, but the American culture with dealing with COVID, where you have a whole lot of people saying, well, I don't have to wear a mask or socially distance because it's my right. The Constitution says I can do. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Fuck off. Just wear a fucking mask. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Just kind of ranting on how, people are so obsessed with their own personal comfort at the expense of everyone else's, lively, wellness and lives. It's sickening.
It is. We had case of that, but we were pretty lucky that the vast population of Australia done the right thing. We shut up the states, and we're still having problems where the government are choosing little things. Money, you notice, like on the weekend, we've got 40,000 people into a grand final, but we can't have 100 people at a gig. But we cut off the, you know what I mean, the dollar, the leaders that run. But we shut up the country really early, and we separated into states, and we actually did shut it up really early. And we kudos to the government. They didn't do everything right, but they did shut it up, and we didn't have the deaths that unfortunately you guys had, where money was chosen over lives. And Colorado was actually one of the better states. We shut down pretty early, but even here you still get people. I work with the general public, and some people just get pissed off when you tell them they have to wear a mask. And again, it's just like, okay, you gotta. Again, the Republican Party seems to be just solely the me, I only matter party. They're just selfish assholes. That's all they're running on now. Just, how can I be a selfish asshole? And that's part of it, is I don't want to wear a mask, so I shouldn't have to. Well, all right. Yeah, and they feed on division. That's what they do. They're whipping up all this division in the country in America, and they're feeding on it. That's what that party seems to be doing at the moment. And a lot of analysts are saying the same thing, that he's just feeding off this division and not coming out one way or another and just stirring it even more.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of just like wanting to own the libs, which is just trying to get up on.
And then labeling news, that fake news label, that was as a
Right.
hacker thing, and they've kind of turned it on its head as something it wasn't even meant to be. And kind of, I suppose, that could lead into the next track, Disinformation Age.
Yeah, that's got a lot to do with that, but it was also like that's like my favorite song, I think, because it was really at the peak of like everything just going to shit. Like people are getting snatched in unmarked vans in Portland, and like we were down at the protests in Denver and getting shot at by police with rubber bullets and shit, and like just insane times. So it was like a lot of that, but also a lot of like, we're on the path of fascism right now. Like, whereas it's kind of in the 10 years in the future, what things are going to look like type of song. So yeah, not only is like factor news or whatever has been completely obliterated, but also if you don't agree with the narrative, you're going to be taken away. You're going to be locked up. That sort of thing.
Yeah, not good, man. And the recent premiere of the DPD at punknews.org, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. We wrote that song as kind of not a joke, but we wanted, again, it was right while we were protesting, and Frank, our guitarist, was like, "Oh, I want to write a song with just A, C, A, B chords." And I'm like, yeah, that's a really good idea. So we wrote, just this really simple, and we kind of finally, it feels like full circle, where we finally wrote the like real hardcore D-beat song that the band was originally supposed to be. We finally did that song. But yeah, it just, all of us, were so, I mean, it was just shocking to see how violent the police were in around July, May, June, just incredibly violent towards protesters.
Yeah, and that was the thing, they don't even put it on the news much. You don't hear anything.
No, yeah. In fact, if anything, you talk to the average person, they're like, well, yeah, all the, Antifa was rioting in the streets and shit, and like Minneapolis was burning, and like, no, that wasn't happening. Most of the times, if something was set on fire, it's some fucking, boogaloo boy trying to stir up shit or something. And that's also, obviously the song is also too, the chorus is a nod to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, and I seen a quote somewhere, maybe not getting it word for word, but I seen it, writing is the voice of the voiceless. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like speaking up, protesting and having a say, because if you can't have your say and it be heard, how else are you going to have your say but get on the streets and yell it?
Yeah, well, and I think also, like, again, for me, like something I learned this summer that was profound was just that you have to, like, people are comfortable, and it has to be violent at some point if you want change, like real actual change. There's going to have to be some sort of destruction or violence, just because people are just going to resist no matter what. Like, if you look at any revolution, any social change, any nonviolent activism is great, but at some point it has to push over into the other side. There has to be some sort of tearing the old way down, and that has to be forceful.
Yeah, and the way the system's run over there, it's totally different here in Australia. Everyone votes. You're 18, you vote. That's the way it goes. Everybody has a say in the country. It seems to me kind of absurd over there in America. You can just vote if you want to vote. You know what I mean, and things like that. I feel like and the whole way the electoral system just sounds really, really absurd, confusing, and geared towards whoever's got the biggest butt. Oh yeah, no, it's completely archaic and. Yeah, just stupid. Trump didn't win the popular vote. No. He lost a couple million. But because he got these certain squares on a map to go his way, it's you have Wyoming, which has like the population of like a small
farm, and they have 2 votes, just like, you know, other states, because that's the bare minimum.
But that's what I mean. I don't understand that system. Like, I get it. I know what I mean. Each state gets a certain amount of points, but whereas we have whoever gets the most votes wins the election. You know, that's what I mean. Like whoever.
Yeah,
gets,
it really. Well, I mean, actually, it's I'm not the best source on this, but it's really based on racism in the slavery times. You know, that certain people that only have 9 or 5. I'm gonna get my facts all fucked up, but anyway.
Yeah, no, I get the idea.
Based on that.
Yeah, I did hear about that too, and I have heard, like, I am quite read a little about the history of America and things like the Electoral College, because I wanted to know a little more. It seemed really absurd of a way of running a country, considering it was one of the most powerful countries in the world. And it's like, America, we the people, but the people don't have the say. That's what I mean.
Yeah, we love to brag about our democracy, and yet we're probably the worst at it.
It's horrible.
As far as countries that brag about, you know, try and do it anyway.
Yeah, and I'm sure Australia's no better, but it's better than that. I think it's
a little better. It's got to be a little better.
Pardon me. Can we jump into the last song on there, Drown in the Swamp?
Yeah, that one is probably the most simple. It's, you know, Trump had his famous Drain the Swamp campaign slogan, and I just thought it'd be funny to write a song about drowning him in a swamp, and so that's what it's about. And you know, and just kind of that corruption in this country is, you know, it was already high, but I think it's at an absurd level of corruption right now.
Yeah. So, what's the scene like in Denver? I got to ask, because I actually was doing a little bit of a radio spot for a Denver internet radio station out there called Blunt Force Stereo, dude. So,
nice.
For a little while.
Yeah, the scene is fucking awesome. Or, you know,
when it was going.
Back. Yeah, when we could do shit. But I think I was talking to my bassist about it the other day, and he summed it up really well. Where like Denver was kind of unknown in, like, you know, stretch from like 2006 to 2015 ish. Like no one came to Denver. It was, you know, you went to Phoenix and Albuquerque, Las Vegas, you went around Denver. So we really had to like build our own scene. It was really kind of I think built on itself. And so from that's where you get all these great bands who are coming out of that, like Primitive Band and Blood Incantation and, you know, just Necrofilth, all these just fucking amazing bands. And so, you know, now we're like a really great metal scene, but it was partially because we were just such a kind of not shitty but just overlooked metal scene. So it really had to grow itself. And so like I've been, you know, playing around in the scene for like since like 2006 or so, and you know, it can be intimidating to like, we got Ethan from Primitive Man to do our album artwork. But, you know, they're all really fucking awesome guys who are just like, I'll do your artwork, or here's some pointers on this. So it's a really close, like, just a great fucking scene.
Tight scene. Yeah, it's good when you hear scenes like that. It's kind of like that over in Australia. Like you see dudes from different bands all chipping in, and then same guys doing the same artwork, and the recording studios are all the same. So it becomes a really tight-knit community. And when it's going, guys like yourself are there supporting the bands as well, buying merch. I find a lot of metalheads like us are really committed into buying merch and records and stuff like that. Where's the best place people get along and support you guys? Like merch? Have you got some merch coming, or CDs, tapes and things?
Yeah, we're going to have CDs and tapes when the album drops, so on the 30th. And then I think we have some stickers and shit too. We'll have more shit. It was just, again, with, you know, not being able to tour, that got kind of pushed away, like T-shirts and that sort of thing, because that's more of a tour, you know, thing.
Well, that's the thing. When bands go to tour like yourself, you're never going to be sitting up. up the top 10 or whatever, and you know that you've come out, you want to play hard, you want to sit in the underground scene, you do what you do, and you do what you do because you love it. But when you go play gigs, you go, you meet your fans, you chat to the audience, people are going to come in and go, oh, fuck, Vulgarian are awesome. They'll come over, they'll chat to you boys behind the merch stand, and they'll buy a shirt, and they'll buy a CD and things like that as well, you know. And people don't realise that there's a whole industry behind what you're doing on stage.
Yeah, well, and like, shirts are one of the best. The money you get from shirts is fucking awesome, and so buy shirts. That's always a great way to support bands.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm always buying shirts, flags, records.
Yeah,
I went and bought a record player. I know. I went I had my daughter's birthday. She's 6. My youngest daughter had a birthday party, and I actually had to go try to find a shirt out of my wardrobe that was kid friendly for a little kid's birthday party. No, can't put that one. No, can't put that one. Yeah, this one's good.
Yeah, that's my daily struggle going to work. No. Okay, that one's all right.
That one's all right. There's one of the 2 white shirts in there. I'll grab that and put that on.
Well, I'm the guy who's like, anytime there's not a black shirt, I have to have it because I got 200 black shirts. I want the one not black shirt. I don't care if I like the design or not.
Yeah, I've started doing that as well, and I've had some pretty cool bands send me some different coloured ones as well, which has gone in there to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Cool. Anders, I'm going to let you get about the rest of your night, man. This has been really cool, man. We'll have to do this again sometime. Before I sign out, man, do you have any last words, shout-outs, or thank yous you want to sign in there?
Shout out to Pete with World Famous Studios for recording us and like just making the album sound amazing. That would be my biggest shout out. Anything else? Fuck the pigs, defund the police, vote, all that good shit.
Fuck yeah. Anders, this has been a massive blast, man. Thank you very much for making some time to have a chat with me about Vulgarian politics and the album Human Scum. Everyone grab this on October 30th. Turn it up really bloody loud because the neighbours are going to want to hear this one as well. Anders, thank you very much, mate.
All right, thanks, man.
Cheers, bro.